Hello, my name is Vincent Bonacci. I wrote a fictional story called Trying to Do What's Right. It's the story of three young Christians trying to deal with why God allows abortion to continue in this country. It's an easy-to-read book, about 150 pages, though it has lots of twists and turns and surprises that'll keep you guessing. What I wanted to tell you today was that this book took me about 25 years to write. And the reason was, I used to write while I was driving back and forth between Rochester and Buffalo in the late 90s. It's about an hour drive each way. And I would write to keep myself focused and keep myself awake after a long day. I would take everything I wrote and I would put it in this metal container. I had all the characters fleshed out and I was writing dialogue, and I decided to change jobs. So I took the metal container and I put it in my garage so I could work on it after I got settled in my new job. Well, my youngest son, who was in high school at the time, wanted the metal container, and he threw out all of the contents. I still love my son, but I didn't have the heart to start from scratch with the story at that time. Since then, I've tried to revisit it, but my oldest stepson became a doctor. My youngest two boys are now master sergeants in the Air Force, and both of those occupations play into the story, and I didn't want anyone to think the story was about them. Well, in 2019, there was a snowstorm in November, and I showed up to a Bible study and only two other guys showed up, so we were just talking. And the subject came up about writing books, and I told them the story how my son threw out my book and we all laughed. And then they asked what the story was about. So I related the story as best I could, and they said, "You have to write this book." So I considered it and prayed about it, and in November I sat down at a computer and started again from scratch, trying to write the outline and flesh out the characters and write the dialogue. This is the book I came up with. God's timing is perfect. I don't understand it all the time, but I trust that God knows what He's doing. I hope that someday someone reads this book and comes up to me and says, "You were the reason," or "This book was the reason that I didn't have an abortion," or comes up to me someday and says, "I was born because my mother didn't have an abortion." That's what I'm hoping. I hope you enjoy this book. I hope it blesses you. Thank you for your time and your consideration.